It's time to get your mind right with the Mind on Greatness podcast crew. Welcome to the Mind on Greatness podcast show.
Hey, what's happening, folks? You know what it is. It's me and my main man right there, Boss Hall, Boss Dog, K Poke through the door. And you know what it is when you see these faces. This is the Modern Greatest Podcast, and we here to talk any and everything with y'all. But today, we got a little special for y'all. You can see it scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk NBA Finals. Got the Mavs and Celtics. But before we get into it, excuse me, I want to give a big shout out to everybody that has something to do with the podcast, whether it's past, present, or future. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Mike, shout out Jeff, shout out Peso, Keys, and so forth. You know what I'm saying? If you ever want to contact us, give us some corrective criticism. You wanna hop on the show. You just want to chop it up with us. Let us know what we can do better, or let us know what you want us to talk about. You can hit us up at men on the mission 56 at gmail.com, and we will get to you as soon as possible. Just strap your seatbelt, hold on, we'll get there because we starting to have the people roll in a little bit. So it is what it is. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and get to it. As you can see, my man got it up there in his background. He rolling with the Celtics, you know what I'm saying? I'm rolling with the Mavs, you know what I'm saying? But we like, it's always something we gotta see. We can only predict and put our thoughts out there and see what happens, in the finals. But at the same time, let's go ahead and get it going. We're gonna talk about the Mavs first. We're gonna talk about the Dallas Mavericks first. Of course, they went through, in my opinion, a easy obstacle when it comes to the Minnesota Timberwolves. You know, they were presented as the number one defense in the National Basketball Association, but the Mavs made it look easy. You know, only letting the Wolves, win one game, and they got him up out of there. You know what I'm saying? They got him up out of there. It is what it is. Luka, Kyrie, and the rest of that Mavs team, they took care of business against the Wolves, but now they got a tougher, taller task at hand with the Boston Celtics. So we're gonna start off with the Dallas Mavs. So first question from me to you, Capo. Just go ahead and let them know real quick who you got winning this series and why, and possibly a little small snippet of how.
Um, I got the Celtics win the series in seven. I think this is going to be a tough series. I'm not going to lie to you. But I think the key X factor in this series is Jaylen Brown. I feel like Jaylen Brown has stepped up in the sense of, replacing Marcus Smart as a leadership role, but also he understands that he can get a bucket whenever he needs to. He's becoming their clutch guy. You would think it'd be Jason Tatum, but it's him. And he has the mindset that, I have to deliver. And also, I feel like this team's back is against the wall. If they do not win this championship, this is it for the Celtics as far as this team that is currently constructed. So I think what the Celtics going to be able to take advantage of is putting Jaylen Brown in favorable matchups. I feel like on the offensive side, I do feel like uh, the Mavs are a very good offensive team. So there's going to be games where the Celtics do not perform, but I think Jaylen Brown will be that clutch X factor, and I pick him to be the Finals MVP. I just think that he will be that guy that's going to be able to get them over the hump. A lot of people for some reason focus on Jason Tatum. I don't know why, but uh, for me, it's going to be Jaylen Brown. That's their key to winning this championship. I think Jaylen Brown is a more complete player. I think he sees the floor better, and I think he'll be able to get everybody to their spots and make their shots and elevate this team defensively and get them to play that grit basketball that they need to play. The Mavs have everything. They have, though their defense is ranked number 20, it don't matter. They playing, they figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? They got PJ Washington, Lively, Luca, Kyrie, Hardaway, Morris, the Morris twin, like they got bodies to throw at you. You know what I mean? So this definitely not gonna be an easy series for the Celtics, but I think the Celtics, with Jaylen Brown being the leader, will be that X factor to get them over the hump. That's why I got the Celtics in seven. Now, caveat: if Jaylen Brown ain't the X factor, the Celtics will lose in six.
Okay. All right, there's this short prediction. I'm gonna give my short prediction, and then we'll transition into talking about the Mavs. What can the Mavs do to keep themselves in that position to hoist the trophy at the end of the finals? Uh, Me, honestly, just like he said towards the end of his soliloquy, I got the Mavs winning in six simply because I think Kyrie and Luka has finally hit that point to where it's like do or die in their mind. You know what I'm saying? It's their second season playing together. They're both elite offensive players at this point. I feel like they're unguardable, and I feel like they're just playing at that next level. And I feel like they've hit the ground running at the perfect time. And I feel like they're just gonna be a handful for the Boston Celtics to deal with. Not only that, once the Celtics have to play amongst the trees, I'm talking about Gafford, Lively, PJ Washington, and so forth. You know, I feel like they're gonna struggle because they have they have size when it comes to the small forward, shooting guard, point guard position, but when it comes to the power forward and the center position, I feel like that's where they kind of lose a lot. And right now, Luca and Kyrie have these two big guys, Lively and Gafford, playing well in the paint, and I think that's where the struggles and the woes will begin for the Celtics. So I got the Mavs, kind of taking control. Again, I think they're gonna struggle early on. I think they're gonna struggle early on. I do have the Celtics winning game one, by a nail biter. They're gonna be fighting tooth and nail, but I do have the Celtics winning game one. But after that, I think Luca and Kyrie gonna say, "Hey, bro, we shouldn't be losing." Period. And I think they're gonna take control. They're gonna take command, and they're gonna get everybody involved. And then they finally gonna take heed and take control, and just do what they got to do, and just handle the Celtics the way, kind of sort of the way they handled the Wolves. But the Celtics will get more wins than the Wolves. I do see it going at least 6 games. But at the same time, I got the Mavs winning in six. Got the Mavs winning in six. Now, let's go ahead and throw a subtopic in here. I know you picked the Celtics to win in seven, but for you, since you got the Celtics winning in seven, which elite superstar for the Mavs do you think the Celtics have to key in on and try to slow down, or at least trying to keeping the bottle and keep them from getting going 100% completely rolling? Which one do you think they got to take out as far as Kyrie and Luca?
Um, for me, is Luca. Luca sees the floor better than Kyrie. Kyrie is a great player. He's all world. You know what I mean? He can get a basket from anywhere on the court. But I think Luca is the type of player that his game predicates. He can get everybody involved better than Kyrie. And it's no disrespect to Kyrie. I'm not saying Kyrie can't facilitate, but I'm saying Luca does it a little better. You know what I mean? Luca can get you to your spot and for you to get shot. If you're a guy that's 100% from 15 foot, he gonna get you to your spot, which is 15 feet, and you're gonna make your shot. That's how Luca. That's how his game is predicated off of. So he sees the floor better. So if anything, I'm gonna look to shut down Luca and everybody else and let Kyrie eat. You know what I mean? If I just bet my money. If Kyrie beat me 4 games, scoring 60, then hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? But for me, I'm shutting down Kyrie. I mean, Luca, my bad. Luca.
Okay, bet. Uh, I'm kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum simply because I think the Celtics should shut down Kyrie simply because that's going to be that veteran leadership heading into, this 7 game series. Not only that, Kyrie has a lot of factors in place. He still has a fan base in Boston because he did play for that team, and he did, do good things for that team when he was there. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get them a ring while he was there. But at the same time, wherever Kyrie goes, he creates a fan base. He's just that good of a player, and he's just that good of a person, to create a fan base. So the fans will be torn between the two, but of course they rock with their team. Their team is their team. But at the same time, I think Kyrie has a small advantage because he's played in the Garden. He's going to be good at home. And right now he's that veteran. He's that veteran. He's that rock for the Dallas Mavericks. So not just from a scoring aspect and playing basketball, I think it's going to be almost how can I put it? Almost has to be done to take Kyrie out of this thing, out of this game, to keep him out of focus. Don't disrupt his rhythm when he get going. You got to find a way to not let him get going because if he gets going, like I said, he's not going to be affected playing in the Garden. He's damn sure not going to be affected playing at home in Dallas because that's his team right now. So if you can keep him from getting in a rhythm and getting that veteran leadership, focus going, he's got everybody around him going again, like you mentioned. It's not his thing to really look for other players. But at the same time, if he does get that aspect of his game going, then it's going to be tough. If he can get himself going, if he can get Gafford Lively, Jones Jr., PJ Washington, Luca, and the Morris twin going, it's going to be tough because he has that veteran leadership. He's been in these positions. He's been to where he's had these games in the finals to where it's like do or die in Cleveland with LeBron. So he knows. He knows he has it. It's built into his DNA to be a winner, so especially in tougher situations. So I believe it's got to be evident and it's got to be adamant for the Boston Celtics to take Kyrie out of the game. I know you can't 100% take him out of the game because he is unguardable in my opinion, but at the same time, you can't let him get into rhythm. So you're gonna have to keep throwing rhythm disruptors at him at all times, whether it's an unnecessary foul when you get going, whether it's okay, we gonna trap you, we gonna double team you, and hopefully we got our best defender on Luke. I think taking Kyrie out will be a big part of the equation and they will have to solely rely on Luca. Even though, again, if you let Luca get going, it's still tough. But I think Kyrie, because of the mental aspect of it, I think you got to take him all the way out of the picture. Now let's go ahead and transition into what the Mavs are going to have to do defensively possibly to keep the Celtics from winning in 7 games. What you got on that right there? The Mavs. What do you think they have to do if they do win in 6 to keep this from going to Game 7? What do you think the Mavs have to do, and who do they have to slow down to keep this thing going? Even though you already mentioned, but let's just elaborate on it real quick.
They're gonna have to throw different bodies on Tatum and Brown. They're gonna have to wear them down basically, um, because that Celtics team they kind of rely on those two to get the offense going. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got White. White can kind of create for himself. They got the old head from Milwaukee. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that team it flows through Tatum and Brown. And so what I would do is to kind of just grind them down, throw different bodies at them. You know what I mean? Get them different looks. Everybody defends a different way. So you got the Morris twin. You got Tim Hardaway Jr. You got what's his name Gafford. Or you got these guys who could play defense. Now they may play their defense in different ways, but at the same time, to keep your defense fresh and keep your guys fresh, just switch, put different people on them. You know what I mean? Different people on them and keep them out the paint. You know what I mean? Make them rely on the outside game. I read a stat that the Celtics, a lot of their offense is predicated on the 3-point shot, right? But, you know, how often every game do you see a team rely on the 3-point shot in the playoffs and win every game? It don't, unless you Steph Curry, it don't happen. You know what I'm saying? So I would say keep them out the paint, uh, and like I said, just throw different bodies at them, get hands in their face, and the referee seem to be letting them play a little bit. So hey, put a little elbow grease in some of them fouls. You know what I mean? Just get a little. Don't get dirty, but get a little nasty with them. I think if the
Mhm.
Mavericks are able to do that, I mean, they should be able to get them out there at 6.
Okay. I'm gonna highlight a couple players, and it's mainly gonna be the players coming off the bench, like a Jones Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr., PJ Washington, Gafford. These guys are gonna have to come out and understand, like you mentioned, that the Celtics are gonna stretch the floor. They've been doing it all season. They live and die on the 3-point ball, and they're gonna have to understand, like, hey, there's nobody's in the paint. So if your guy is headed to the rim, don't get overzealous and don't get too happy to pick up because they will kick the ball out and they will knock down their threes if you leave them open. So I'm gonna highlight again PJ Washington, Jones Jr., Tim Hardaway Jr., Gafford. These guys are gonna have to believe in that man that they put on whoever has the ball in their hand at that time and say, hey man, you gotta guard him. It's man to man. We stretched out. Horford to be outside the 3-point line a lot I believe, in this series because again, he's one of those guys you can't leave open because he will start knocking down the three consistently, and we know what it is in the NBA. Once you see the ball fall through the net, it is like a tick, a tick for every player that shoots threes. And once they see that ball fall through the net from three, especially with the Celtics, they get that glitch and they get going, and it's hard to slow them down if they got that three ball going. So again, I think PJ Washington, Jones, Tim Hardaway Jr. and so forth, they're gonna have to do a damn good job with just having to deal with I can't help you right here unless they're automatically going to the paint and they're getting buckets in the paint. But when it comes to that man to man stretch floor, you're gonna have to stick with your man and believe in the guy that y'all put on him. So with that being said, how important will the three ball be for both teams in this series?
It's very intricate, especially for the Celtics. I think it's more important for the Celtics than it is for the Mavericks because the Mavericks are a team that can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor. I mean, you look at Kyrie. Like I said, this finna be tough. This ain't finna be no, this finna be. The Celtics got to come with it. You know what I mean? But you got Kyrie who can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor. You got Luka who can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor and get people a bucket anywhere on the floor. You know what I mean? The Celtics, a lot of their game is predicated on the 3-point ball. So they're going to have to come into this series switched on, but also they might have to throw a little wrinkle in there. They might have to start looking for a mid-range shot. You know what I mean? They might have to start looking for ways to get to the basket. You know what I mean? With in the offensive sets. It's really gonna get interesting. And but for me, I'm very interested in not the players. I'm very interested in the coaches because you got
Mm-hmm.
two black coaches who are in the finals. You got Jason Kidd, who kind of won as a player. He's won a championship as a player. He's won as an assistant coach with the Lakers. Now he's a head coach, right? And he's bringing that defensive toughness. Although the Mavericks are ranked 20th in defense, he's still teaching them how to play situational basketball to where they need to step up defensively, they step up. You get what I mean? And then you got this young 35 year, let me say, the dude 35, man. He only 1 year older than me. All right. 35 years old, he in the NBA, he coaching. I respect that. I salute to that. You got these two black generals who are head coaches. I'm interested in see who's gonna make the better adjustments, who's gonna come up with the better game plan. That's what I'm interested in. You get what I mean? Because
Right.
Jason Kidd kind of been there, done that. Then you got this young hungry lion as a coach who trying to get there. So I'm very intrigued by that.
Okay. Three ball. Again, I'm gonna roll with you. It's gonna be very important for the Celtics to knock down the three ball again because that is their ride or die. That is their shield, and that three ball ain't falling for them. We've seen them struggle throughout the season, but at the same time, if the three ball is falling for the Celtics, I may have to agree. If it's falling at a high rate consistently from everybody who can shoot the three ball, I feel like it may go to a game seven, and the Celtics have a high probability of winning this game, winning this series, excuse me. So again, because if you look at the Mavs, they do have 3-point shooters, but it becomes very intricate when they get in the half court offensive sets because once Luca and Kyrie get in those half court offensive sets, they have the ability to take time for your team, get late into the shot clock, put up some kind of circus shot, and make it from anywhere on the floor. As well, but when you look at the Boston Celtics, when they get into the half court sets, they're literally set up to move and rotate the floor to get the 3-point shooters open. But at the same time, they really don't try to put the ball on the floor and try to get to certain areas of the court to where they can score. They're predicated on people being set up in certain places in certain areas that way they can kick it to them and then they shoot the set three versus Luca and Kyrie who can just sauce you up, step back, come forward, step back again, and do a side step and pull up from deep and hit. You know what I'm saying? So both, like you said, it's going to be very important. And then I like the fact that you brought up the coaching aspect, which we'll go ahead and segue into that since you brought it up. Again, these coaches are going to have to dive deep into their bag, because again, for the Celtics, they've been there, they've been in the championship a few times and they haven't delivered, which would be our next topic. We'll talk about that real quick too as our next topic. They've been there a few times with the same team. They may have lost a few players, here and there, but at the same time, that core nucleus is still there. So with the coachings, with the coaches, I believe they're going to have to dive deep in their bag, and they may have to bring in different lineups to even, equate or match up with what's going on the floor. So they can't be scared to pull out this player and put in that player, or all right, cool, we want you on the off. We want you working the off ball set versus you always having the ball in your hand in the typical offense that we run. So I think the coaches are going to have to dive deep into their bag. They're going to have to be real sharp. They're going to have to be mental, and I think they got to stay focused because I think the refs are going to play a big part in this too. If they start going to the paint and all these crazy fouls and crazy things start happening, the coach is going to have to maintain their focus. And we know Jason Kidd as a coach, he's already been there, done that. So we've seen him maintain his focus a lot on the sideline. So for the young coach for the Boston Celtics, he's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to match that energy that Jason Kidd and the Dallas Mavs are coming with. So let's go ahead and segue into the next thing. As for the Boston Celtics, do you see if they win this NBA Finals, people actually like, yeah, they finna turn it to this almighty dynasty that we've been waiting on, or do you see it more like finally? And as far as for the Dallas Mavs, if Luca and Kyrie can pull this off, do you see Luca finally emerging himself out of the wilderness and becoming the face of the NBA?
So for the first answer, it's gonna be finally. That's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be finally. I mean, we didn't. They didn't change. They didn't have so many players on this team. Tried this, tried that, tried this, tried that to kind of get this team, you know, to where it is right now. You got what I mean? They were supposed to be a championship team for many years, and they weren't able to deliver. So, their back is against the wall. This is do or die for them. You know what I mean? If some people gonna be out of a job if this don't work, you know what I mean? So they don't have a choice. Now this is a hard choice. You know what I mean? They. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. On paper, they are outmatched. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're outmatched on paper. I mean, when you look at their rosters, you're like, yeah, on paper, you know, but it comes down to the wheel and it comes down to strategy and game planning. So we shall see if the Celtics will be able to deliver. You know what I mean? You mentioned experience. They have that experience. But you got Kyrie who got experience. And he was the reason you could say I won't say he's the sole reason, but he was a contributor to that Cavaliers championship. So, he's coming in with experience and him being in the playoffs and playing with a player like LeBron, who Luka's game is kind of modeled after a little bit. You get what I mean? So he know how to, you know, Kyrie took a bad rap. You know what I mean? I know I'm getting off topic, but he took a bad rap because he was playing with guys who played like him. He's playing with
Mhm.
a guy that has a totally different game than he has, so he's able to mesh well with that. And he's played with a style like that before in LeBron James. So, you know, uh, it's a finally for the Celtics. And for the second part, will Luka be the face of the league? I feel like they already been trying to make him the face of the league. So yeah, if he wins a championship, they're gonna push. They're gonna push it even harder. You know what I mean? You're gonna see more. Uh, Commercial success dealing with Luca. You're gonna see them pushing Luca heavy if he's able to deliver a championship. So, um, I mean, you've seen it. Dave Luca was in his second year, and they was already trying to compare him to LeBron. It's like, bro, he's only in his second year. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so they already want to grant him that he just has to deliver with a championship for them to basically put that engine behind it to push it. So that was my responses on those.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Luca question first. I'm gonna answer that first. As far as Luca, if he emerges as victor, as the champion out of this, I do feel like they're gonna push the issue. They're gonna try to deem him as the face of the NBA. But hold on, real quick, not so fast. I still got that young cat, Ant Edwards.
Mm,
He gonna have to do battle with him because if you go back and look at history and look at how Jordan became the face of the league. I'm not comparing their skill set, but their path is
it's
starting to line up. You know what I'm saying? Because Jordan had to deal with the Pistons early on. I'm not saying the Mavs are the Pistons, but Jordan had to deal with early woes and early losses to the tougher teams in the NBA, and Jordan had to figure it out. And then once Jordan figured it out, the organization figured it out. Let's get him a couple more pieces. And I think and Edwards, they're gonna do the same thing. And like I say, that path is slowly starting to align itself. So I'm not saying he's gonna be superstar, he's gonna be Air Jordan, Mr. Mike or none of that stuff. But at the same time, it's taking the footsteps are starting to line up. So at the same time, I feel like he gonna have to do a little bit more. I know you beat him once, but I feel like Anthony Edwards and that Timberwolves team, if they go ahead and shuffle around a couple pieces and get the right people over there, it's going to be a battle for the face of the league between Luka and Edwards. But let me not get off topic right here. Again, with that being said, I do think Luka will become the front runner if he gets the championship right here against the Celtics. I do believe he'll become the front runner for the face of the league, but he's still going to have to do battle with Ant Edwards. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and segue into the second question. Uh, as far as the Celtics, I think they have passed that timeline, that deadline of becoming a legacy, and I think I agree with you. It's going to be like finally about time. You had Tatum, Brown, Horford, and a few other pieces over there for the longest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should have been done this. Of course, people have came in, people have left, this and that and the third. Of course, they're getting Porzingis back, for the series, which I think will be a big beneficial factor in this series. But at the same time, it's still gonna be like if they win, I think it's gonna be like finally, it's about time, and I'm gonna keep it short, sweet, and simple. Finally, it's about time. Tatum, you should have been did it. Y'all should have been believing in the kid Brown. He shouldn't have to get on, national TV and say, "Well, it's about time," because I really don't get nothing. He shouldn't have to get on national TV and say stuff like that because he been a dog. He been balling. He been trying to prove to the world and prove to the Boston Celtics organization that, hey, bro, if Tatum ain't doing it, I'm him. I'm next in line. I'm not even next in line. I'm right there with him. You know what I'm saying? Give me my props. Give me my credit what credit is due. So I think it's just like, simply as you put it. It's finally about time. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close out. It was short, quick, sweet, short lived for y'all. We talked about the NBA Finals. K. Poe predicted, the Celtics, could win this series in seven, but he's not naive to the fact that if the Mavs get going, the Mavs can send them home in six. And I'm taking the Mavs in six. And again, I'm not naive to the fact that the Celtics could win this series in seven. But with that being said, K. Poe, you want to go ahead and close us out?
Man, like he said, man, we didn't talk NBA basketball today. Y'all continue to support us, man. Continue to help the channel grow. Me and Coach got something going. We got something coming. You just gonna pop up. It's gonna be here. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Like he said earlier, if y'all want to be on the podcast, hit us up, man, on the mission 56@gmail.com. We not running from no smoke, no topics. Just make sure you come with your stuff in order. Don't come on here freestyling. You know what I'm saying? But cause our style ain't free. Our time ain't free. We got time for all that. So y'all continue to support us. We love you. We appreciate you. We gone.